Danny Masterson has a clique of guys around him who don't allow anyone to harm a curly brown hair on his head. That's according to a brand new Yahoo News article from their inside source. And they're talking about what a typical day looks like for Danny Masterson, according to him. And let me tell you now, it's filled with video games, pickleball, movies, and hundreds of dollars in snacks a month. I'm going to take you through this article and break it down. This says Danny Masterson's life in prison sounds more like a relaxing weekend than a punishment, sources exclusively tell In Touch. In Touch, that's a very ironic name for a news outlet talking about Danny Masterson in prison. But it says that he participates in sports, enjoys video games, and a collection of TV shows and movies downloaded on his prison tablet. But also, Danny Masterson has broken several inmates' ankles on the basketball court, that is. Because at 11:30 or so, he heads out to the pickleball courts, plays pickleball for about 2 hours, gets his juices going, does a little stretching, and then they got the basketball hoops right there on the pickleball court, and he starts shooting J's and crossing people up, taking it all the way to the hole. The source, who's inside the prison with him, even says he's getting better and better. So it looks like he really missed his calling as an NBA point guard from the way they're talking about his game in there. Now, it also goes on to say that Masterson has made very nice with the guards. Not surprised at that. But apparently he's the errand boy, they call it there. In my prison in South Carolina, we call them runarounds because you just run around and do all the favors and errands. You know, errand boy, I mean, same thing. For the guards. And usually you'll have like a designated guard as far as I know, but maybe it's different out there. And maybe he just does this for all and any of the guards. But usually you'll be assigned one specific guard, maybe a sergeant or lieutenant, something like that. You kind of just shadow them for most of your work hours on that day. And you just shadow them and do whatever. You take documents here, you take these papers here. If there's a basket of mail, you take it down to this cell block, this dorm, this building, or you know, medical request forms need to go to these inmates, you know, stuff like that. And that sounds like what he's doing, at least for one guard, if not all of them. It says here he hands out permission slips to fellow inmates who have medical appointments, counseling sessions, and other appointments within the prison. This is kind of the job I was talking about when I made videos about Chad Daybell and even Alec Murdaugh, you know, these kind of sweet jobs you get, because this is really considered a sweet job from the prisons I'm aware of. And I would imagine it would be out there too. I mean, you're kind of shadowing this officer all day. What's really going to happen to you if you're kind of worried about that? You know, you're always going to and from somewhere in the name of this officer. They're expecting you to come back. You know, most likely nothing's gonna. There's not really going to be any opportunities to do anything to you, or it's not going to be worth the risk. But I guess never say never. Well, let me continue reading. It says at 3 p.m. every day, he's required to be in his cell for a head count, according to the insider, but he's allowed to use a prison-issued tablet. With this tablet, he can play video games and choose from a selection of TV shows and movies to watch. However, the source clarifies that the prisoners don't have access to traditional internet and that all of his emails and messages are monitored. Now, let me talk about this. The prison-issued tablet, we have that out here in South Carolina, too. I think it's something they're trying to really get going all over the country in the prisons. Number one, it kind of becomes a substitute. They started doing this around like the COVID period, you know, when you couldn't really have people come in for in-person visits. And I think they saw an opportunity to just, let's do it all digital, you know, and now you can just have video visit calls, at least as far as I know, with my tablets out here. But you'll have your visits on this screen instead of actually being able to see them in person, you know. But you can send emails, messages to approved people on your list or whoever makes an account with this little jail tablet. I mean, same thing that we saw Alex Murdaugh have, you know, that where we got all those leaked pictures from him and gave him to the news and everything. You know, same thing. Same thing. You can buy a bunch of little video games. These aren't top of the line. You know, he's not out here playing Call of Duty or anything, but, you know, little games, Candy Crush, whatever, stuff like that. Movies. Yeah, they come out with new movies, a new selection of movies just about every 30 to 60 days. You can buy kind of a season pass that lets you get these, or you can buy specific movies and TV shows. I wonder if he watches his own TV show. I don't know. Maybe that'd be weird. But they do go on to say, as I mentioned, want to clarify, he doesn't have access to traditional internet. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I bet he doesn't. He doesn't have access to traditional internet on that prison tablet. It doesn't allow it. Unless you're one of those guys who jailbreaks the tablet and then you can access the internet, which we've seen done already. I've posted a video of that guy bragging about how he did that to his in his prison cell. And that's not even to mention, I'm sure he's gotten his hands on a cell phone. Even if he doesn't own one, he's probably used one here and there from somebody because it sounds like he's getting in good with people. But we'll get to that in a minute. They go on to talk about the quality of meals he's getting in there. I don't think it's any big surprise that they're just not good. The food is crap. I don't think that's, big shocking headline right there. So, maybe I'll just skip over it. But I don't know. If you're interested, it says we'll have like a casserole kind of thing that's so horrible most guys won't even eat it. He'll get grilled chicken and a salad, but it's mostly like wilted lettuce. For breakfast, they serve eggs, but it's, powdered eggs and soy-based bacon. Yeah, no surprise there. And so instead of eating that, Masterson likes to opt for the canteen option. You can spend up to $300 a month. And it's pretty much going to have anything you can find in your local gas station. Maybe a couple more, canned goods than usual. But pretty much your gas station food right there. So it sounds like he's wolfing down those honey buns and eating those Reese Pieces and all that good stuff. Now it's talking about how he's adjusting socially to life behind bars. Source reveals that Masterson seems to be adjusting well. He says, quote, he doesn't seem to be too shy and he limits where he goes, limits who he has around him. At first, there were a couple people around him that were going to victimize him, whatever that means, but you can use your imagination. But some of the other prisoners interfered with that. And he goes on to say, so he's got a clique of friends, if you want to call them that he hangs around with. It's mostly the guys in the neighboring cells. Like I said, it's a mature crowd, so they are not doing dumb stuff. These are older guys that are out of the gangs, serving 25 to life, that are rehabilitated, hoping to get a parole hearing date to get out. They are well behaved. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not there. I'm not in that cell block, and I wasn't there. I don't know the conversations they had, but let me tell you something. That sounds fishy. that sounds a little, they stepped in and interfered with the prisoners who were going to victimize them. Hey, halt. Don't do that. We're rehabilitated now. We don't have to do this anymore. No. And it's interesting, the choice of words. He says he's got a clique of friends, if you want to call them that he hangs around with. What do you mean if you want to call them that? Now, I understand you don't really make friends in prison, but it just all of this context leads me to believe that someone's getting paid off. Someone, somewhere, somehow is getting paid off. Again, I don't know, but it sounds like some money got paid and now nobody's going to touch him. And he kind of just compensated with, oh, well, maybe I'll just, don't want to make it sound like anything crazy is going on there. So, oh, and by the way, they're very mature crowd in here. These guys, cream of the crop. Nothing to worry about. They have Bible study 3 times a week in there. So don't you worry. Everybody's doing good. Now, it sounds like somebody's got some money paid to them, which is, hey, that's what happens. That's how it goes. That's what I figured all along. When I first, before he even made it to these prisons, that's what I assumed would happen. Why would you not do that if you're Danny Masterson? You got all this money. Even if you don't have all the money you had, you got some money, man. Compared to most of those guys in there, you got some money. You got enough. You got enough to make sure your victimizers get shut down. Right? So, yeah. There's that. And that's about all we have in the article, but very interesting update. Not too surprised by it. He got moved down to a lower level camp. It's easy street. But as you see there, even on easy street where you play pickleball and you get video games and you shooting jump shots and watching movies, eating candy and Snicker bars, he was still going to have some people who were going to victimize him. They were still going to do that. They were going to do that on the last yard. And now he's at a better yard where this stuff doesn't happen or isn't supposed to. It's supposed to be a nice, safe yard. And already they were going to do it again until somebody stepped in. But I would like to know how that whole thing went down. honestly. But there's your update. Thought I'd give you that real quick. Let you know if I hear anything else. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.